You ever watch someone block a fire lane with cocktail tables and fairy lights, then act surprised when an ambulance can't get through? Yeah, that happened. I live in this supposedly quiet cul-de-sac just outside Millersville. It's the kind of place where lawns are symmetrical, porch flags hang just right, and everyone smiles just a little too wide. After my husband Greg passed 20 years as a firefighter, I wanted somewhere calm, somewhere safe. I chose the corner house next to the emergency access lane. Greg used to say, "Seconds count," and that lane, it felt like him still watching over. Then Dana Callahan moved in. You could hear her before you saw her heels clicking, voice pitched, like she was performing for an invisible audience. She came with money influence and a clipboard that never left her side. Within weeks, she was hosting community events, charity brunches with caterers, wine tastings on Thursdays, even brought in a jazz quartet once. Folks ate it up. HOA loved her. She wasn't elected, but make no mistake, she was in charge. I mostly stayed out of it. Tended my roses watered in the mornings, smiled when necessary. But I noticed the parties were growing tense, popping up lawn furniture, multiplying cars spilling onto the curbs. And then one Saturday morning I looked out and saw a flatbed truck parked at the fire lane. Men were unloading arches, string lights, massive tables. Right into the emergency access. I walked over, asked what they were doing. Guy glanced at a clipboard and said, "Gala setup." Ms. Callahan approved it. No permits, no warning, just assumed permission. That night, I sat on my porch, watching them build what looked like a wedding venue on pavement meant for fire trucks. By the next day, flyers hit every door. Garden Gala under the stars. Overflow parking available in the emergency access lane. I didn't sleep. Just stared at Greg's photo, him in his turnout gear, grinning like always, and I could almost hear him say, "You gonna sit there and watch this happen?" Next morning I made a call. Not a rant, not a threat. Just the facts to the fire marshal. Gave them the address, the date, told them exactly what was blocked. I didn't expect what happened next. 6:04 p.m., the night of the gala. Music's playing, champagne flutes, clinking laughter echoing down the street. And then the ambulance shows up, and it can't get through. The driver hits the brakes, leans out, yells, "Clear the lane." People freeze. Dana's guests scramble heels, slipping chairs, crashing. One paramedic shouts, "Move the damn tables," and they start hauling equipment and running on foot, full sprint down the inner loop of the neighborhood. Turns out Harold, sweet older man, lives 2 doors down, collapsed in his kitchen. His daughter found him, called 911, and now she's standing outside that ambulance, pale, shaking, clutching her phone like it's her lifeline. And I just stood there, watching the scene, watching negligence come to life. 3 days later, the city fined the HOA $25,000. Dana was named as the coordinating party. Decorations disappeared overnight. But she didn't back down. She went quiet for about a minute. Then came the pushback. Anonymous complaints to the HOA board. My porch light too bright, my hedges a half-inch too long. My packages started getting lost. Trash bin tipped over. Flyers showed up saying I was destabilizing the community. One even accused me of weaponizing grief. All unsigned, of course. That's when I called Caroline. She's a sharp attorney. I met at a zoning hearing once, young, calm, doesn't flinch. I laid out everything, photos, messages, timestamps. She looked at it all, raised one eyebrow, and said, "You ready to make this public?" And I was. Because Dana wasn't just trying to humiliate me. She was trying to rewrite the rules. We filed a formal complaint. And suddenly people noticed. Dana noticed. Then came the twist I didn't see coming, Mr. Whitaker. Lived across the street from me for 3 years. Never said more than 10 words. One evening, I'm weeding out front, and he walks over. Hello just says, "You're not wrong." But they won't stop unless you embarrass them. Then turns and walks off like he hadn't just dropped a truth bomb. The hearing got scheduled. County level. Not HOA stuff, real municipal procedure. Caroline walked in like she owned the place. I wore Greg's badge around my neck under my sweater. I wasn't there to win. I was there to make sure nobody could pretend this never happened. Caroline laid out every violation, every photo of tables bolted to the fire lane, every piece of documentation. I told my side, plain and clear. No dramatics, just... It felt like watching someone gamble with a neighbor's life. Then Harold's daughter spoke. She talked about watching the paramedics run. How long those seconds felt, how she thought her dad was going to die, because someone thought lanterns and table settings mattered more than safety. Dana tried to spin it, said it was her planning team, said she didn't know, said the fire lane looked like an extra driveway. Her lawyer called it an overreaction and suggested I had personal motives. The judge didn't say much, just looked at her and said flatly, "Ignorance of municipal code is not a legal defense." That was it. 3 days later, we got the ruling, $25,000 fine, upheld matter, referred to the ethics board. Dana stripped of community authority. Official. Final. No appeals. Her newsletter stopped. Her garden went dull. I didn't throw a party. I just watered my roses and went back to walking the fire lane. Then one day, city workers came and put up a new sign, bigger reflective official, emergency access, do not block. And underneath a plaque, in memory of those who protect what we take for granted. I didn't request that. But when I saw it, I felt something shift. Not victory, just peace. Weeks passed. Things settled. Then, one afternoon, I found a letter in my mailbox, handwritten, no name. It said, "What you did mattered." I wish I'd said something sooner. I kept that note. So, was I right to speak up? Or should I have stayed quiet like so many others did? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear what you think about rules about community, about what we owe each other when no one's watching, because silence isn't always safe.